Data entry is one of the skills every virtual assistant needs to have because almost every business have data entry work at some point. So if you are working as a virtual assistant, data entry is one of the skills that you are going to come across continuously. And a major part of data entry is using Microsoft Excel. In this video, I'm going to teach you all the basics of Microsoft Excel so that by the end of this video, you will be ready to start working with Microsoft Excel. Even if you have never used Excel before, you have never opened Microsoft Excel, this video is going to help you learn all the basics. This video is going to give you the foundation you need to start working with Microsoft Excel, to start doing data entry work with Microsoft Excel. Okay, without any more delay, I will share my screen and we can get started. Okay, the first thing we need to do is to access Microsoft Excel. And there are a few ways to access Microsoft Excel. If you pin it to your desktop, you are going to see it among these icons on your desktop. If it is not on your desktop, then you can simply click Windows. You can click on the screen right here, or you can click Windows from your keyboard. And you can either find it right here, Excel, or you can search Excel from this search bar. If you search Excel, you are going to see it right here. Then we simply need to click it in order to open Microsoft Excel. Okay, when you open Excel, this is what you are going to see. This is the first page that you are going to come across. And if you want to create a new Excel book, a new Excel sheet to start working with, this is what you are going to click, blank workbook. You click on it and a brand new blank sheet is going to open. And you can see this is our blank sheet. So this is how you can access Microsoft Excel. And as soon as you open Microsoft Excel, as soon as you open a new workbook, you have this blank sheet. You can see at the bottom right here, we have sheet 1. This is the first sheet that you have on your Microsoft Excel workbook. The first thing we might need to do is to rename this sheet so that we can easily identify it. And we can do that by right-clicking. When you hover over it, then you right-click and click rename. And then you change the name from sheet 1 to whatever project you are working on. I am going to say Virtual Assistant Tutorial. Similarly, you can rename it to any project you are working on. If you are going to need to use multiple sheets in one workbook, you can simply add another sheet by clicking this plus icon right here. When you click this plus icon, you see another sheet has opened. You can right click and also rename it. And you can easily switch back and forth, switch to one sheet or the other sheet, and you can create as many sheets as you want to work with. If you want to delete one sheet, you can simply right click and click delete. You see I have deleted the sheet that I created. Let's come back to the first sheet. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is as soon as you start making progress, as soon as you start working on your Excel file, you shall save it to your computer so that you don't lose your progress. And there are two ways to save your Excel file to your computer. The first method is to click Ctrl and then click S. This will open this pop-up. You can name your file and you can choose a location on your computer to save it. The other way also to do it is to come to the top and click File. Then you scroll, you click Save As. Then you come down here to Browse. This will open your folders and you can save it anywhere you want. I am simply going to save it on my desktop. So I click Desktop and I am going to rename it. Okay, when I finish naming it, I choose a location, I simply click Save. Now the file is saved on my computer. Anytime I go out of this file, I can easily get back to it. Let me show you an example. When I click Exit, you see I can find it right here. I can simply double click on it to open it and pick up where I left off. You see the two sheets that we created on this file. So this is how you access Microsoft Excel, how you create multiple sheets, you rename your sheet, and you also save your file to your computer so that you don't lose your progress. And next we are going to understand cell, row, and column. Okay, let's get back. The three items on this Excel screen that you are going to work with are row, cell, and column. These are cells. All of these boxes are cells. Each one single box is called cell. And row are these lines. When you click here, the entire cells in this line is called a row. And this is called a column. When it comes vertically like this, it is called a column. When it is horizontal, it is called a row. And when we choose one, it is called a cell. This is important to understand because it will be easier to identify the data we are working with if we understand what is cell, what is row, and what is a column. For example, this cell right here is called G6. You can see at the top right here, G6. And why is that? Because this is G. It is at column G and it is at row 6. So this is called a G6. If we choose another one, this is called K9. You can see right here because it is at column K and row 9. Okay, now we will get to the fun part. Now I'm going to show you how you can add headers to your Excel sheet. Let's say you are working for a real estate investor and the real estate investor gave you a link to a website with multiple listings, multiple property listings, and your job is to find properties who match certain criteria. When you find the property, you take the address of the property, you add it on the spreadsheet, you add the asking price or the property price, you add it on the spreadsheet, and you also add a title to each property. And let's say the investor gave you an instruction to find 10 or 20 or 15 properties. That is what we are going to do right now. So in order to do that, we are going to start with creating the header for our sheet. And how we can do that is, let's just show you how. Okay, first we are going to add the address of the property. And the next item on the header is going to be the price of the property. And the next thing we might include is a link to the property. So let's say these are all the three things that the investor is asking for from us. And in order to make this a header, first we shall add some information down here so that it will be easy for us to make a header and do any customization we need. Now I'm going to find some random data and I'm going to fill it right here. Okay, now we have some data on our file. You can see we have address of 3 properties, their prices, and link to each property. But you can see this data is not readable. We can barely see the addresses. And the numbers here, we can't tell if this is a price, if this is money. And this link, it went on for how many rows, how many columns? It take up like 6 or 7 columns. This is unreadable data. The first thing we are going to do is we are going to make the data visible to eyes so that everyone can look at it and see what we have on this file. And the first thing we shall do is to increase the size of this column so that the address of the property is visible entirely. And we can simply do that by hovering over this place right here. You see, as soon as you hover over this line, the cursor change into this cross. From this, it's changed to this. When it's changed to this, you can double click and drag to increase the size. You see, we increase the size of the address column, and the addresses are not entirely visible yet, so we can increase the size even more. Okay, now each address is visible, and there is another way also to do it. You see now the address is, there are some empty, there are more space than the address needed. And in order to fix this, instead of dragging to adjust the size, we can simply double click right here. And when we double click, the cell is going to expand to fit the entire length of each text in each cell. So we can do that by double clicking, and you can see it widen so that every data in each cell is entirely visible. And we can do this also with this column. And this column is too long because it's a link. Nobody wants to see an entire link. So there is another way to fix it, but we are going to leave it for now. The first thing we are going to do now is we are going to make some changes to this header so that it is going to be more appealing. And the first thing we are going to do is we are going to select all the cells in this header. And we can do this by double clicking on here, and then we drag to select all 3 cells. And what we can do first is we are going to change the background color of these 3 cells that we selected. And we can do this by coming to the top. You see this bucket with some color on it. This is where we can change the background color. And we are not just going to click on it, because if you click on it, the color yellow is going to be the background color, and we don't want yellow. So there is this little drop down icon. So we click on it, and you see all the colors have opened. We can choose the color we want to use from this drop down. I am going to use this one. Yes, I'm going to use this color. But now we have another problem, because the text is black, it is not visible. So we shall change the text of this color. And we can do this by coming here. Instead of here, you can change the background color from here, but you can change the text color from here. We can click the drop down right here, and we can choose white. You can see now our text is visible, but there is more we can do to make this header more appealing. And we can do this by making it bold. We double click and drag to select each cell. Then we come here, this B, it means bold. We can click on it, or we can click Ctrl B, but we can simply click B, and the text is now bold. Okay, next we are going to pick some alignment. It doesn't really look that good when the text is in the left, so we will move the text on the header to center. And to do that, we can click and select all 3 cells, and we can come to alignment right here, and we come to this one. If we click this, the text is going to be left aligned. If we click this, it is going to be right aligned. If we click this, it is going to be center. Right, you see now our text is center. And the next thing we are going to do is to make it center also in a vertical alignment. And we can do this from here. We choose the middle one, and now our text is entirely centered. Okay, the next thing that we want to do to make this header stand out is to make the text bigger. To make the text in the header bigger than the normal text in the rest of the sheet. And we can do this by selecting the 3 columns. Then we come to the top right here where it says font. We come right here. Right now it is at 11. We can click this drop down, and we can increase the size to maybe 14, or 12 will be alright. Yes, now the text is a little bigger than the rest of the content on the page. And we can also, just to make it a little more appealing, we can drag this and increase the size. Okay, the next thing we can do to improve the visibility of our header is to add some border to it. We can do that by clicking and selecting the 3 cells. Then we can come right here and we click the drop down, and we can choose all borders. Okay, right now our header is more visible. What we can do next is we can press this header so that when we scroll, the header is going to stick at the top. In order to demonstrate it better, let me add more data by copying this data. Okay, right now we have more data on this sheet, so it will be easier to demonstrate. When we scroll, you see the header is gone. We want the header to be visible when we scroll through the page, so that even if we have 1000 lines, the header is still going to be at the top. And we can do that by going to the top, and we come to the View tab right here. When we click the View tab, we can then come to Press Fin. We click this little drop down icon, and we choose increase top row. When we click on it, now our header is going to be sticky. When we scroll, you see our header is still going to be visible on the page, so that even if we have 1,000 lines, when you scroll, we still know this is property address, this is price, and these are the links. Okay, the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to change these numbers into value, into money, so that anyone looking at the numbers is going to know that this is money, this is monetary value. And we can do that by selecting the column right here, column B, and we come back to the home tab, and right here under number, right now it is in general, we can simply click this dollar icon to change it into money. But you can see right now it's turned into hash, meaning arrow. And what this means is there are more numbers than can be visible. We can simply fix it by adjusting the size of this column. Remember, we can adjust the size by either double clicking right here, or we click and drag it. Yes, now you see we have our numbers shown as monetary value, but there are extra zeros in each number. Right now we have 380,300, and we have extra 2 zeros. We can get rid of them by selecting the column again, and we can come right here. This, when you click this, you add zeros. When you click this, you remove zeros. So I'm going to remove 2 zeros so that it is just the value of the properties that are going to be visible on this spreadsheet. Okay, the next thing that we are going to learn is these links that extend to up to column K. We don't need it. Nobody really wants to see the entire link. So we want the link to be contained in one cell. And we can do that by selecting the column, and then we right click and we go to format cells, and we come to horizontal, and we click right indent. Then we click OK. Okay, right now you see the link is still there, but it is not entirely visible, so that our data is more easy to see. And right here we are going to change this to center again, so that it is back to normal. Okay, the next thing we can learn to help us format our data and make our data more visible and more easy to understand is to use bold, italic, and use colors to format our data. And let me show you how you can do that. If you want to make your text bold, you can simply select the text. You can select each single cell, or you can select an entire column, or you can select an entire row, or you can even select everything on your data. And when you select the data you want to format, let's say we want to make this data italic, we want to make the prices italic, you just select it and we come right here, we click this icon. This symbol means italic, and you see when we click it, our prices are now italic. If we want to make it bold, we can select it and click B to make it bold. You see now the prices stand out a little more. Now let's say we have this data right here, and then your client said they want to add another column with another data on this header. Let's say the client said they want to add a column with a yes or no, and we can do that by saying yes. When you do this, you see you have to format it again, format this header in order for it to match the rest of the header items. But you don't need to really do that. You can copy the style from one of these cells and we can paste the style right here. Let me show you how. You can select the header, you can select the row that you want to copy the style. When you select it, you come to the top right here, you click this paint icon. When you click on it, it means you copy the style from this cell. Then you simply come right here and you click to paste the style. You see now immediately this column is also formatted the same as these other columns. When we scroll, it also sticks to the top. Okay, just a quick recap. Now we learn how to make a text bold. If we select a cell, we click bold, we make it bold. If we want to remove bold, we click it again to remove the bold. If we want to make it italic, we click this italic symbol. Now the text is italic. If we want to underline it, we click here. Now it is underlined. You can see the data stand out a lot more when we added this formatting to it. If we want to change the color entirely, we click this drop down and we choose a different color. If we want to add a background color, we choose this drop down and we choose the background color that we want to use. So this is how you format your data. This is how you add a data in an Excel file, and this is how you format it. When you finish working with your data, make sure you click Ctrl S to save it, or you come to File and click Save. This will save your file so that when you get out of it, you can easily come back to it. Let me get out of this file right now. Remember, we save our file to our desktop. When I double click it, you see we have the same data open up again because we already saved it to our computer. Okay, these are the basic Excel skills that you need to learn in order to start data entry work. If you know how to do this, you know how to add a data in an Excel file, how to rename the data, how to rename the sheet, how to add another sheet, how to save it in your computer, how to add simple formatting like bold, italic, add a background color, add a header, make a header stick to the top. You know how to copy style and paste style to another cell. Then you are ready to start doing data entry work. Simply remember, Excel is big. There are a lot of features in Excel, so it is going to be close to impossible to learn everything in Excel from day one. If you know how to do, if you learn the basics, if you know how to do all the basic things in Excel, then eventually you are going to keep improving your skills and you can become an expert in Excel over time. You can watch this next video to learn everything you need to know about data entry virtual assistants. If you find the video helpful, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next one.